Right, this is my Soldano Hot Rod 50 Plus. I've probably had this amp for 10 years now. A buddy of mine, well, he wasn't my buddy at the time, I'd never met him. I walked into this pub and I saw this really great guitar player playing, and it sounded great, and I looked at his rig and I saw the magic word Soldano and just about wet myself with joy because I'd never seen one of these amps or heard them in the flesh. And I got talking to him, and you know, he kind of goes, oh yeah, this isn't even my amp, it's a buddy of mine, he's selling it. So I pretty much immediately got in touch with this guy and said, hey, I want to buy your amp, and I did. And at the time I paid a lot of money for it, but it was totally worth it because when I got it home, I just turned it on and I had all the knobs at about 6 and I had the gain at about 3. I plugged the guitar in and it sounded like this. And to me, I just thought immediately that was like the best rock guitar sound that I'd ever heard in my life, and I didn't realize that the gain was only at 3. So I was playing and playing and playing. I probably just played for like 20 minutes straight and went, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever done. And then went, oh, there's even more gain. So I cranked the gain up to about 6, and this is what it sounded like. And that is with the master volume. That's at 5. This amp actually goes to 11.
One louder, isn't it?
With the master volume just under half, and I feel like you really do have to turn the master up on this amp to really get it cooking. I'll give you an example. With the master at about 2, it's a little bit thin. It's nice and tight, but it's just kind of thin and buzzy. It's like the perfect brown sound in an amp, basically. It also does a lot more than that. The way I like to normally run this amp, I've got the presence at 4, the master volume at 5 on the overdrive channel, trebles at 6, remember these are all out of 11. I've got the middle at about 5.5 and the bass at 6, at the moment with the overdrive at 6. If I take the overdrive to about, just say 4.5, it sounds like this. You know, kind of does that late 80s, early 90s thing really well. And then what I like to do is kick a boost in front of it. This is an Anarchy Audio Workhouse, which is not a workhouse, it's a workhorse, as you can see by the man in the business suit with a horse's head, which I think is hilarious. It's like my favorite graphic on a pedal ever. But it's based around the infamous Klon circuit, so when you kick that in, it really takes it sort of next level. This is one of my favorite distorted sounds ever. So it either does a hyper 80s rock thing when you've got the mid-range up, or it really does a kind of messer rectifier kind of thing. All I had to do was boost the bass and back the middle off a little bit. I didn't touch the presence. I might turn the treble up a little bit as well there. But yeah, it can do the sort of recto thing, which is, again, one of my other favorite sounds. So this is cool because it lets me do like This is cool because it lets me do like Rat and Dokken and George Lynch and Steve Lukather and all my favorite 80s players, but it also lets me do like the Alice in Chains or Soundgarden thing, and it lets me do the more modern rectifier thing, which I like to do when I'm playing with Ragdoll. So that's why I find this amp so useful. It's also just inspiring to play. It's one of those amps that feels really good no matter where you set it. So for high gain stuff, it's just incredible. It's worth every cent. And then if you really push the mids, and again, I'll take the overdrive, say up to about 8, because this is pretty insane. I'll leave the boost off, and then about halfway through I'll put it on, because this is just an incredible lead guitar sound. You know, I could sit there and play like that all day with this amp, and I have spent a lot of time doing that. So that's what the overdrive channel does. It does have a normal channel, which is pretty cool. I think there's basically one less stage of gain, so let's get that fired up, and that's like the AC/DC channel to me. So it can also do some really nice clean sounds and some crunch sounds. Let's hear those. I got a little bit out of tune there, and I apologize about that. So that's the normal channel. I really like what that does. That's a very underrated part of the Hot Rod series, and also the SLO 100. So if you do get a chance to play one of those amps as well, cherish it, because they're just an incredible amp. And again, you can hear this amp is cranked, and I know I'm running it through the reactive load into an impulse, but there's very little noise, there's very little hiss. It's so quiet when it's idling. It's just such a well-designed amp. And you know, when you consider that Mike Soldano, you know, he came up with the SLO circuit, the SLO preamp, which is, you know, the Soldano X88 rack uses it, this uses it, and then Mesa Boogie pretty much just ripped it off with a rectifier, and then the PV5150 is heavily based around the SLO circuit. There's you know, 3 really classic high gain amps there that Mike Soldano is basically responsible for, so he pretty much deserves his place in the pantheon of amp design gods, I think. So that's why I love the Soldano Hot Rod 50. It's just such an amazing amp, such an inspiring amp if you like rock and metal guitar like I do. So yeah, if you've played one and you want to share your experience with it, please leave a comment. If you like the video, please hit subscribe. Check out all my other clips. Lots of videos about amps and guitars and gears and stuff like that. So gears, not like in cars. Gear, like guitar gear. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you soon.